What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of R&B Reviews. I'm Brinder, that's Ridwaan, and today we're going to be discussing the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen with our special guest, Shaq,
What's up,
good friend of
everybody?
ours.
What's up?
Just getting right into it, I want to know your first thoughts of Jujutsu in the full season.
I think it's a great anime. I know some people may not share that opinion, but I honestly think it's a great anime. It starts off really, really strong. Like, there's lots of action in the first episode, and I feel in the first episode you can really. It's very similar to a lot of animes where you can really relate to the main character and his. Obviously,
story.
yeah, obviously he has his grandpa and whatever is sentimental and that kind of stuff. But I think overall the first season is really good, really well done. And they, like I said, they start off strong and they end strong. It's just kind of been a steady incline throughout the whole season. And yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
Cool. What about you, Ridwaan? How you feeling?
For me personally, I wanted when in the middle of when I was watching it. So I'll start from the beginning. In the beginning, I was like, "Yo, this anime is pretty good. The animations were good. The episodes were pretty consistent." And I was like, "Oh, this is a good anime, strong storyline." Then as it got towards the middle, I was like, "Oh, it's a lot more about fighting, and it's just this. It's not really story driven." There were some good scenes that I like or some good arcs in terms of the Kyoto school versus the Tokyo school.
Yeah.
So that stuff I liked. Then today when I watched the finale, I was like, "Nah, this has the potential to be a great anime." When I was watching the finale, I was like, "Nah, this is fire."
Yeah.
I just felt all the emotions. I liked all the characters. I feel the finale tied everything together.
It tied the first season well.
Yeah. When I watched the finale, I didn't realize how much I liked the characters until I seen them chilling together, and they're just making me laugh, just based off of simple stuff. So I was just
Simple things, yeah.
So I was like, nah, I didn't clue into how much I started liking the characters till the finale episode.
So they did build that little emotional connection, even though you thought things were stupid.
Low key were building it under and building it up and up and up until I actually started to relate to the characters. I think the fight scenes are amazing.
Yeah, they're fire.
The fight scenes are just
really good.
Just the way they're animated and the way they're done, I really like the fight scenes. Starting from when they do that little arc, the Kyoto school versus the Tokyo school arc, that's when I think the fight scenes are this is really good.
Okay, so I'm gonna end up asking you what's your favorite fight. So let's say that for a little bit.
Less.
I liked it overall. For the first season, I thought it was okay at the beginning, and I same type of character the main guy is good person, etc. They build out the story. It was, I don't know if it was a straight incline as you're saying. I thought it was incline and a little bit of a dip, and then starting back to the incline.
Okay.
I liked it overall, but there was something the whole time I was watching it, there was something missing. I didn't know exactly what that was, but there was something I was off-putting for me. It was a good show. Everything's there. The fighting is really good. The characters funny. That type of characters you end up seeing.
Yeah.
But there's the plot is good, the overall world building is good, but something was off. I couldn't pinpoint it for you guys, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I don't know. It was good to me, but I wouldn't say it was you were saying it was a fire show right out the bat.
Yeah.
I saw the fire, there's really good stuff here, but I wouldn't classify it as a fire show just yet. Yeah.
So I was introduced to the show as obviously I like anime. At work we talk about anime all the time and stuff. So I had a staff that was into the show, and he said, "This is the show you got to watch. It's good. It starts good. The middle's good. The end is good." And I'm like, how many shows do you guys know that start good, they're good in the middle, and they end good? Not many, right? So I was very skeptical at first, and I was like, okay, whatever, I'll give it a chance, because I didn't have anything to do, and whatever, I was running out of animes to watch, so I watched it. And then sure enough, usually you don't get into the fighting right away, right? And for the most part, as much as people like to say character building and all this other stuff, the fighting is why we watch anime, right? Most of us were introduced into anime with Dragon Ball Z,
crazy
right?
fights,
So that's the one thing that we
generally gravitate
and we look for, right? Of course there's other animes that pull on your heartstrings and you know what I mean, but the fights are always something that we look forward to. So when they started straight at the gate with not a huge fight scene, but it was very good and well choreographed.
It was pretty tough.
So So that's, and then that obviously like piqued my interest, and
So I from that like first fight, I wouldn't classify it as like a great fight or a good fight. It was like a teaser fight to me.
Yeah, for sure.
When Gojo's like, it'll take 10 seconds. Like give me this much time, and then Sukuna's pulling up, and he's like trying his hardest, and he's like, I can't touch this guy, and he's moving so fast, and he's just like casual about it. I was like, okay, they're like moving really well, and they're teasing something later on. Like I can see something like a sick fight
coming in the future. I really liked that fight, and I liked how they set it up in the beginning, and like the animations. I was like, oh no, the animations are
on fire. It's
so like it got me when I seen the animations. I was like, no, this is gonna be a well produced show.
Yeah.
So I really like messed with the fights in the very beginning.
What would you guys say is like your favorite part of the show overall, like the first season?
I would say like the panda versus the mecha character. I don't know why, like that scene, like when they were fighting, like really like got to me. Like the fight was pretty sick, and then like their conversations with each other were pretty sick, and then like the panda character trying to get like the other guy to understand them. I thought that was like one of my favorite scenes. Other than like the small parts when they're like just hanging out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of the characters mesh really well when they just like hang out. But coming to my favorite scene in the fight scene, I would say like the panda character and the mech character going at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have probably two that are like tied for my favorite. So I think the first one is when Yuji is paired with Nanami, which is the one of the teachers that was like the stockbroker or whatever, and then went back to like jujutsu sorcery. So that part when they're on the mission to like find out what's going on with that kid, and then they split up, and Nanami ends up fighting Mahito, which is like the patchwork guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, he looks at his watch and he says like, I started at 10, like I'm working past 6. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about.
And then they're fighting, and because when I first saw that, I didn't put any thought into it. I was just like, this guy is just a character that is similar to like Shikamaru, who's like, what a drag, like just like I want to just not be here, right? So I didn't really pay any mind to it, and then the scene where he's like hiding behind the pillar, and he's like, okay, looks like it's time for overtime, and he like opens his tie, and then he just snaps, and then Mahito's like, well, this guy has a time pact with himself,
sort of like a not the time thing, but like sort of like Kenpachi, when like he's like, all right, now
time to take the eye patch. 100%, exactly.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah, characters like that are that like know they're so strong, and then they put a limitation on themselves, right? That like that's, to me, that's like just it's amazing.
I really end up liking the part where they fight Mahito, him, the Nanami guy, Nanami versus and Mahito with
Yuji. Yeah, that was
pretty sick.
That was awesome. Yeah,
and
that was dope.
I like when people are like, you're not on that skill level, but you're forced to fight it, and then like as you're going,
you're
like,
progressing.
Yeah, you're
like
progressing.
in the fight. Yeah, 100%.
That stuff is just sick to me. Like overall,
it was amazing.
It's kind of like I think that's from Dragon Ball Z initially, because saying is as they fight and then they reach closer to death, they end up
getting stronger
strength. Yeah.
And then I would say the other part that I have that's like very close to that one is when Yuji's learning Black Flash from Todo. Yeah. And I like that part because there was like a lot of comedy in it. Like,
is that the one where he has to watch the movie and he has like the little?
No, that's he's just learning how to like control like the curse energy.
That's the big guy fighting him.
The arc when he fights the big guy, and then he fights Hanami, which is like the curse that's like a curse from Earth or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the elements,
with the so
Mother Nature.
So yeah, and he's like, if you don't learn Black Flash, I'm not gonna help you in this fight, and you're gonna die. Like, this guy's way too strong for you. So that part was funny because they're like, and I watched it in sub too. So in Japanese, it's a little funny because like when he says like when he calls him brother or like best friend, it sounds funny in Japanese because he says like best of friendo and like whatever. It's hilarious in Japanese. So that part was really good. And then obviously there was like the serious moments, and then there's the comedy mix.
Yeah, like it was good. That was a good mix. Yeah. I love the brother part. He's like, brother, like we're best friends. We went to the same middle school. Out of nowhere, and Yuji's like, who the fuck
I just met you.
Yeah. He's like, what's going on? What the hell? I never went to your middle school. He's like, what are you talking about? We won regionals and whatever. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That stuff was killing me.
Didn't he like imagine, because he started imagining it after he asked him like, oh, what type of girl?
What type of girl? And he said the exact same type of girl. And he's like, yeah, we were best friends from middle school.
He's like, tall girls with a big butt.
Yeah.
It was jokes. what would you say about the world building overall? Like, how do you guys like the world of Jujutsu?
I feel like the world right now is pretty small. Like, because I feel like you have like they've introduced the cursed spirits who kind of like live in their like own little world thing, and then you have like the Jujutsu Kaisen school, and they kind of like chill with they kind of like chill in Tokyo and stuff like that. But I feel like the world just seems like between like the school and then the cursed spirits, and like it just feels like you just have the school, the cursed spirits, and a small little world. Like, it doesn't feel like
there's no interaction with like the outside.
Yeah. Do you think that's like just because it's season 1, or do you think like it's gonna grow? Or is it an issue at season 1? Because they do talk about like Gojo having to dip to a different country to do his job, and the one second-year student that's like highly skilled, he's out on a mission as well. Like, do you think it's because of season 1, or you think overall it's just going to be a small?
I think it's because of season 1, but even when they introduced the school, I don't know why it didn't really like expand like the world to me, but maybe because like they introduced,
it doesn't show a lot of like
it doesn't. I feel like with the other school they introduced them as like kind of like enemies, so it didn't really like. I kind of got a little bit cool with some of the characters, but I didn't get too attached to some of the characters.
Yeah,
so I don't know, like I would say for me, like the world felt kind of small.
The thing that gives me hope, like that there's gonna be like a bigger world environment, is that they do have others, like they have other schools, right? So they have the Tokyo and the Kyoto, even though that's all in Japan, but there could potentially be more outside, right? And then too, obviously with Gojo like traveling and stuff like that. I think it will probably expand, but there's not really any reason for them to
go beyond,
or like deal with like people who aren't sorcerers or aren't curse users or aren't curses, or aside from like there's a scene where Nanami's in like the bakery and like the girl has a curse on her shoulder and then he just like kills it, but aside from that, aside from stuff like that, there's not really any interaction with like normal everyday people or like whatever the case may be.
I just want to say I really like Nanami. Like
Nanami?
Yeah.
You just forgot about him up until Shaq.
I forgot about that scene, but I really like him as a character. Like,
once I saw that scene, because
that's what people are like because
he was like working mad hard at the one company. He's like, I used to work overtime, and nobody cared about it. I was like, that's facts.
That just hits you.
Then after I was like, that's exactly how I felt. And then after he's just like, I had to switch. I had to choose between a job that I like or like this other job. So I ended up choosing becoming cursed. What do they call cursed sorcerer?
A Jujutsu sorcerer.
The
curse user is a Jujutsu sorcerer who uses the curse energy for bad.
So
and then curses are curses.
With Nanami, I just like really liked him as a character, especially with the fight. He's like,
he's relatable.
He just didn't want to fight for that long. He's just trying to get out there, but he couldn't. So then he ended up, having to work overtime. So I don't know. I just liked him. He just suits likable characters still.
Yeah.
For the world building, I'd say like it was limited, but like I could see why. It's just the first season. They're still introducing like schools and stuff. But in terms of like the story and everything like that, it seemed very familiar. Like they did take a lot of pieces from here, from there. When in like the first few episodes, when Megami's like he's calling out his dogs, like he's using different hand motions. I took that from like Naruto.
Yeah, for sure.
And everybody has different abilities, but they're using the same type of force, like chakra or whatever. So that's from different animes. That's not like a single anime you can pinpoint. I'm not saying they stole anything. I'm just saying they used a lot of like inspiration from different animes. The curses and the cursed spirits and all that, it seems similar to Hollows in Bleach.
Yeah.
And you can see exactly like their whole reason of being is to destroy these spirits that are created. And Bleach, they're created from the souls of humans.
People who haven't passed, yeah.
People who haven't passed. And in this, they're created from like the thoughts and
the negative
energy.
From humans,
so it was very similar in a bunch of aspects to different animes. And like that's what I was like, okay, they did a really good job of not stealing, but using as inspiration. But it felt all really too familiar.
Yeah.
And they did pinpoint like when he was training and Gojo's like, oh, you're going to get like a move for yourself. And he's like, but it won't be like super sick or anything like that. He's like, what? I can't have like my Bankai. I can't have my Rasengan. Yeah. I was like, that is sick.
The spirit gun. I like that. Like note to like all these other animes.
Yeah. Nice. It was like a good nod to it. I really liked it when they said that stuff. But it does seem like super familiar in terms of like other animes and stuff. But they did a really good job of like making it their own.
I think the thing too is like a lot of like there's so many animes now. It's hard not to take from it, right? Like every anime has like the good and the bad, right? Like Naruto has like Naruto and Sasuke, and then you have obviously I don't know.
Usually the main character.
Yeah, you have like a good and a bad, like Goku and Vegeta. Like there's always like a good guy and then like an anti-hero. Like he's a hero when he needs to be, but he's like, you know.
One of the big ones they have is like the character that's kind of like quiet and like moody type stuff. Every like anime has like that character.
Yeah, for sure. There's very similar like character like skeletons that they just move from like anime to anime.
Yeah,
like, they just
What didn't you like about like the show? Like, is there anything specific you guys could say? Like, hey, I could do without this, or I want them to improve on that.
Oof. I wanted to see more time with like the school base and them working like in the school structure. Like I feel like they kind of like they didn't really graduate, but they kind of moved from like you're in school to like you're fighting like cursed spirits. Like I guess kind of because like I would like My Hero Academia a lot. So like in My Hero,
it was like My Hero as well. Like they took like the
from when they like did the school thing, the tournament thing. So I felt like I liked the tournament.
The music, sorry, not to cut you off, but they had like the music when they're fighting and like it's like a high moment like that. I feel like they took that directly from
My Hero.
Yeah,
the school thing made me feel like I really like My Hero. So when they did like the school tournament, I was like, oh shoot, this feels a lot like My Hero. So I kind of wanted them to like stay within that like space a lot more. But honestly, that was just like me being like greedy. The cursed spirits too, like I feel like I'm more of a fan of like human like villains. Yeah. So then I'm not really too much of a fan of cursed spirits, but I don't know, like the fights with the cursed spirits was really good, but I like to see them fight like more human characters, which they ended up doing in the finale, but and they did in the school arc, but yeah.
How about you? What would you say?
It's hard to like
pinpoint something.
It's hard to pinpoint something that I honestly really like the anime like from the beginning to the end.
It could be something small like you don't like the side character, or you wish the side character was stronger, or this guy could do something different. Don't like.
I think what I would have liked a little bit better, because so like Gojo obviously has his beef with like the
teachers and
and the higher ups and that kind of stuff. So I feel like I wish they explained that a little bit better. The one thing too is I wish they went into a little bit more depth of like the three like big families or whatever.
Yeah, the Zenin clan and then a few others.
So so I wish they explained that a little bit more and like maybe gave a little bit more of a backstory, because like they just mention like in passing, like nonchalantly, like, oh, that person's part of like one of the big clan, great three families or whatever, and then it's like, okay, never talked about again. So it's like,
that's actually very true. Yeah, and then in terms of explaining like his beef, like I feel like this is one of the animes that I'd have to rewatch to be like, oh, like you know how Attack on Titan, like you rewatch it, you're like, oh, like this makes sense, or this is why he does this. I feel like I might end up having to rewatch it to understand like the beefs between like certain people and like their goals in like a totality.
I think they were just teasing those moments, like the clans. Also something similar to like Bleach, where Bleach had these specific clans. I think they're just teasing you, like they're going to end up explaining it in season 2, season 3, because there can be them having the odds at each other, or them having specific issues could be more of like storylines, like 100%. Different things that they can introduce. The only thing like I would say that I didn't like would be, it's hard. It was a really good anime. It was just something was missing. Like, I don't know. I can't pinpoint it.
Like it's just you were missing that piece that would like level it up to like, oh no, like this is a super sick anime.
Like it's weird because you can use it like, oh, Brinder, this anime doesn't have it, but you click next episode. But I would say like the next episode factor. Like I wasn't like really eager to hit next episode. I ended up watching like 10 episodes one day, but I was just off. Like I had nothing to do. I know what you mean. Like it didn't make me hit next episode.
But you didn't want to like skip work to watch it. Like there's shows that like
I'll stay up late night.
Like you have to work in the morning, you stay up late, or like you're like you contemplate like I don't even really need this job. So I'm gonna go like watch a show. Like,
which like it didn't happen, but it's only 24 episodes. Like what can you really get from 24 episodes? I'm sure like it'll be better later on, so I'm glad I ended up watching it overall.
So what did you like about, like, obviously not like just a single character or a single moment, but like what did you like about the show
I liked certain characters like Yuji's obviously like he's the main character, cool.
Yeah.
But like I like side characters like Megami, and his storyline was a little bit different. They switched it up. Like I thought it was like a love interest that like passed or something like that initially, and then they switched it to like his stepsister, and like she's gone, and then it ended up being other characters like Gojo was like sick, like no homo, eyes were crazy.
You know who Gojo reminds me of? Doesn't he remind you of Kakashi?
Yeah.
When he has that, yeah.
Maybe it's but like, is he not like emotionally or like the same? My bad for cutting out, but like
he's different. He's kind of I can see where you're saying, but he's kind of like the more like
playful version.
like happy, like energetic type of guy. While Kakashi's like I don't want to deal with you guys right now.
Yeah, but they're both very similar. Like I can definitely see how he would like remind you of Kakashi, but Kakashi's personality is more like he's a very like laid back and like serious person, whereas Gojo is like, even though they're both like masters of like their craft, like Gojo is more of like a playful, like, you know, he's just messing around with you and cracking jokes, like whatever, and then like if things get serious, then like he can do his thing, right? But
I liked him. I liked all of there's a bunch of characters I ended up liking. I think I ended up thinking the reason like I would say there's something missing or what I didn't like about it, they didn't add like a big training facet to it. Like training arcs is like some of my favorite arcs overall,
for sure,
because it's like you're building with the character, you're seeing how they do it, and it's like it gives you like energy. You're like, I want to do something, you know. It was cool to see, but like this one didn't have it specifically.
They skip by,
they crazy skips, and then he does train within fighting, and that's cool to see, but like you're missing everything else. Like I want to see like my hero Deku, like he doesn't get the powers, he trains to get the powers, and then when he gets the powers, he's like, I can't use any of his, I have to train more to be able to use even 1 to 2% of it. So I feel like the training factor they did miss out on, and they rushed.
The one thing too with Jujutsu was they, like, again with the training is like in most shows it's like a physical training. So like my hero was physical.
Yeah.
Naruto, he's physically training, right? Whereas in this one, like of course he's fighting and stuff like that, but he's just learning how to control like curse energy,
bringing
right?
it out and like holding it.
Exactly.
But they do that sort of stuff in like Bleach and Naruto with like chakra control, and like they show it like really well. And while as this one they didn't like throw it out there that much.
Yeah, and the training arc in this is like very small. Like he's sitting on the couch watching the movie, like controlling the energy.
And they show him like after the fact. They don't really show him.
Aside from that, it's like, okay, now you gotta punch this guy, but like make sure you punch him with like the curse energy, and it's like that's his training. Like it's
more mental.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, so what would be your guys' like favorite battles or just cool battles in general? Like what was the best fight scenes? Cool battles you saw?
I technically feel like the best fight scene in the show would be when I don't want to say his name wrong, but Yuji Itadori and the big muscular guy were fighting.
Totally, yeah.
And then like my favorite part of that fight scene is like when he's like, brother, and then they get
kick
close,
off.
Yeah, they kick off. So I was like, that was sick. When I seen that, I was like, nah, that was too sick.
Yeah.
So I really like that fight scene. I'm wondering if it's like what I think is the best fight scene. I think it might be the best fight scene like when I was watching it.
Okay.
It was a really good fight scene actually. Yeah. Like I said, I think I really like that whole thing where he was like learning how to use the black flash, like,
and then he was like, Toto was like clapping. Like, he was just this.
That was sick. Yeah. I think they would switch and stuff like that. That was sick.
And so I really like that. But I personally think like the best fight was at the end when they fought the two like humanoid like curses.
The curse.
That was a pretty short fight though.
It was short, but I think like it was very well put together, and like you said, like when they
animation wise or like you're saying fighting wise,
the choreography for the fight was good, and like obviously the animation was good, and I think they put the right like music with the right scenes, and there was a scene where Nobara and Yuji were like about to finish off like their respective like curses, and like there was like some like music that was playing, and like it was zooming in on their face, and it was like I was like, yeah, let's go, like finish them off. And I think what I liked about that fight scene is like from the beginning you could tell like Megami was like a prodigy, and then he had his little thing with Sukuna where he was like, oh, like what a waste of talent or whatever, and then he realized like I'm great, right? And then Yuji is obviously like before he had Sukuna's fingers, he was like physically dominant,
gifted,
right? Like
yeah.
he was just stupid strong. And then Nobara comes on, and usually in animes, it's like the girl is like
the weaker of the three.
weak, and yeah, exactly. So in that last fight scene, she like really stepped up, and she had like a whole slew of.
She was pretty much the reason.
Tricks,
They ended up winning.
Yeah, exactly. They had a whole slew of like different things in her arsenal, and she was willing to like make the sacrifice by like driving the nails in her arm and like all this stuff.
Quick question: the Yuji like having like the extra like ability prior to the curse energy. Do you think there's a reasoning behind that they're gonna end up showing later on?
No, I didn't really think about it. I thought he was just athletic.
There's not a deeper meaning?
No, I think he's just
I
strong.
thought he was a little bit more powerful than a human. Like he was doing stuff, and I was like, that's not really humanly possible. But
Yeah, so they were painting him out to be beyond like human level, like, and as a teenager, as a high school kid, say he's like 15, 16. You know, there's no. You
I
don't think
thought
there's
they
gonna
were
be a
just
reason to that?
embellishing it. Like I thought they were just using it as like a little bit, like they're stretching it a little bit more. But I was like, I didn't really get the vibe that he was anything else.
Because like most
before
animes,
fingers.
like they're gonna end up showing like, oh, this is the reason.
There's
like,
a reason why they're
like,
so.
Why do you think like his parents weren't around? They were nasty jujutsu sorcerers or something.
They
like
did.
that.
Didn't they explain something about like a mother being able to have kids with like a cursed spirit?
So
Yeah.
that was the last like episode.
The last episode.
The two
the three,
humanoids,
yeah.
the three brothers.
But
one
they
still
were the
alive.
reason why they were like that was because they were aborted. No.
No, so the reason. So what happened is like there's a lady. I don't know what time frame this is.
Yeah.
She's able to bear children with curses, like, and which is like weird, but she's able to bear children with curses, and that curse ended up dying. She didn't know how she got pregnant, and then the family and her relatives said like that's disgusting, blah blah. They said all their hate stuff, and then she had to like run away. Her baby ends up dying.
And a jujutsu sorcerer.
I don't know if it was Tokyo or Kyoto, but she goes to the Jujutsu Tech school, and one of the sorcerers, he's like very like
Orochimaru mind.
Orochimaru type, curious. He wanted to see what happened, so he ended up impregnating her 10 times.
9 times.
9 times, and then aborting it all 9 times.
Yeah.
And then all record of like what he did, and her disappeared, and she ended up like dying, or she lives and she probably dead at this moment. This sounded like it was like hundreds of years ago, but those 3 paintings came to be from like her like hate or like her or her emotions.
Yeah.
So
But what if Itadori is like a product of that, but instead of being aborted, he just grew up?
He just grew up. That would mean like the story's not 100 years old.
I think
Not from her, just like anyone, like a random.
I think that if that was the case, though,
I
they
don't
would
understand
have
that
would have said like, he's saying, what if he was a product of like a curse and a human, and then he
That's
just
why
grew
he's-
up, like he was born and just grew up.
That would have to be like very
Because that's the only way I can see him having powers before he ate the finger.
He didn't have powers like
Or like
curse
he was like
energy-wise.
super like strong before he ate his finger.
Yeah, I guess that could be the case, but like it would have to be like fleshed out really well and told really well for me to accept that. Like that's a weird type of thing.
Yeah, that I feel like they would have at least made a nod to it in the in the season somewhere. Like aside from saying this guy is super strong.
The
Like,
most
If it's not
reasonable
that, he has to be just athletic. Well, continue my.
the most reasonable to me would be like his parents were like high level jujutsu sorcerers, and like they ended up like dying to save the planet or save whoever
city
from
or
this,
something. Yeah,
from
something.
the cursed spirits that they were fighting, special grade, and then they left this prodigy type, and he didn't know it. He just was physical. He was a stupid kid. He's pretty dumb, so he was just physically gifted. He thought that's it, and that's why his grandfather's the one taking care of him, and he passes. That's my thought. Like maybe they can
He
toss.
passes
later on.
unceremoniously too. Like he just like looks away, looks back, and
He's like, yeah, don't end up like me.
The one thing I want to say I really liked, and just before I lose the thought, is like Toto explains his power to like the curse, and then he lies about like his explanation of like how his powers work.
Yeah.
And then he's like,
Or he doesn't give the full story.
Or he doesn't give the full story.
yeah,
I think
I don't need to. He's like, if I clap, it doesn't mean like I'm switching.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's funny.
so I thought it was lit because I feel like a lot of the times with animes, like they kind of use it, and you're like, oh, like why would he like do that? But like now, like when they explain their moves, it's just like he used that as a trick. Like that's something I've never like seen.
Where like anime is always like bad guys, whatever. They'll explain the whole plot.
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is how my power works," and it kind of like goes against them. Yeah. So it's like, "Oh, like why would you do that?" But then now it made sense like why he did that, and I was like, I don't know, I really like that scene.
So my favorite, there's a few like the Gojo at the beginning, that tease. I really like that one. Gojo fighting Jogo, that was cool.
That was heat.
That was pretty sick. Mahito having his domain like when he first gets it. So the domain kind of like Bleach, no? Like some of them have. Well, you don't watch it. Do you mind if I say it?
No, yeah, you can say it.
So some of them have their bankais, and it ends up putting them in a little bit of a world where it's like their abilities are going to be enhanced to the most, and it's kind of guaranteeing them hit, not really guaranteeing it like Jujutsu is, but it was sort of like that, similar. Mahito gets his domain, and the domain structure was pretty sick. I liked all those battles. Gojo versus Jogo was pretty cool because it's like he wasn't even trying, and he was dusting somebody that's supposed to have the curse energy of 9 of those fingers, which is like insane.
Yeah.
Because I think
you see how strong Yuji is with like 2 or 3. Yeah,
2 at the moment, and he's supposed to be 9, and this guy dusts him, and he even says Yuji asks like, if you were to come back full strength, like would you be able to? Who would win? He says,
like, I'm pretty confident.
He's like, I'd win. He's pretty like shrugging off, but that would be like a sick fight. I feel like that's gonna end up eventually happening. But my favorite of the whole thing was like, the Megami when you're saying like he realizes like I am like that dude, like I'm different.
I'm
like
the guy.
He has something blocking him, but it's not like a normal person like self-confidence or something like that. It's more of just like he doesn't accept it at the moment. If you get that, but he ends up like fighting the special grade which eats the finger down at the bridge, and he gets dusted, goes unconscious for a few seconds, and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah. Like, he's like, I'm gonna do me. He's like, I am that sick. And then he goes a little crazy, and he just like snaps a little bit. Yeah. Pulls out the domain, and the domain comes out. He's like, it might not be finished, but I don't care. And then he uses it to all his advantages. Like he is that little shadow. Mm-hmm. So he gets hit. He goes into the shadow, and he ends up killing that special grade. That was probably one of my favorite scenes, and it's like it builds off the potential and shows more potential for Megami.
Yeah, definitely.
In the future, I feel like he's a likable character too.
He is.
I think he's one of those characters that you're gonna see a lot in like little forums, and people like, oh, I love Megami. Like he's a Todoroki of Jujutsu.
Yeah, definitely. I could see that.
Todoroki, yeah. How does this compare to like other shows? I already mentioned that, of course. Like it touches this. How would you compare it though? Like, does this end up beating some of the animes you've watched, or does it fall short?
I think that's a hard question to answer because
it's one season.
It's one season, yeah. It is. It's a great show. Like if I had to base it off of its only season, like if it ended here, it's definitely.
Well, let me pose a question. Like, so we've all watched Code Geass. You're in the middle of watching it. What would you say about that? Comparing it.
I'm not a Code Geass guy.
You're not a Code Geass guy?
Like it's a good show. Like honestly, it's a good show, but it's not. I would put Jujutsu over Code Geass.
I'd say plot would be better.
I would like to be honest. Jujutsu hasn't like I feel like because it's one season, and then like because like the middle I didn't really like tie in so well with it, that like I can't really put it above like a lot of the animes that I've watched, only because like it's really good, and I feel like for the time, like it's like kind of like setting the tone for like the new era of anime, and like how good, how well done the animations are. But I feel like I still gotta wait and see what it end up being like in the future before I can say like, yeah, it's better than this anime, it's better than that. But
I think the Code Geass thing is like Code Geass definitely is a more intricate story.
Yeah,
like it's more like there's more moving pieces in it. I
would say overall plot, and it's like a little bit deeper.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Thing.
But it lacks
if I had to choose a show to watch like over and over and over again, I would choose Jujutsu over Code Geass. Like, it's more exciting for me.
Yeah, but like okay, that's true. But that goes back to like our conversation about like Marvel stuff. Like fighting is something you can see over and over again, while like a story like WandaVision, like the story after it all, like if you see a story too many times, like you know what's gonna happen. Well, it was supposed to be meant to show you like things that happen that you didn't think about.
The other thing too, like there are shows that aren't based around fighting, necessarily, like they're not based around fighting, that I do find more interesting. Death Note, for instance, I would I prefer Death Note.
Death Note's disgusting.
Right? Death Note, there's like pretty much there's no fighting in Death Note, right? It's all mind games. It's a game of chess. Like it's just back and forth between two smart characters.
I think that question was wrong on my part. Like it's two different types of shows.
I feel like Jujutsu has a possibility of having like a more intricate plot, but I feel like they didn't really explore that intricate plot in the first season.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it is the first season.
Yeah.
So that was gonna lead into my like second question. Like like this doesn't have like depth in my opinion. Maybe that's the thing I was missing. It is only one season. Do you think that's the reason we only have 24 episodes? That's the reason for lack of depth?
I think so, like heavily, because like when you look at how the season is structured, like they'll like hint at like, okay, you have these characters and this is who they side with, and you have like these characters and this is who they side with. Like there's so many characters to introduce, where I feel like My Hero Academia like introduced the characters like a lot slowly. Like, okay, we're gonna introduce Class 1A, spends a lot of time with Class 1A, then we're gonna introduce like some more heroes. I feel like with Jujutsu, they kind of like threw you with like Itadori, then like, okay, boom, now he meets his like classmates. You spend some time with his classmates, and they introduce, when I mean his classmates, like you have the first years, obviously it's just like him and like two other characters.
They show other classes.
Then they show other classes within his school, but they really show you those other classes like really quickly. Then they show you like another school at the same time. So like I feel like they're trying to introduce all these characters
a lot.
Then they're gonna start introducing like the plot, because you know the curses have like some sort of interest or plan. I don't know if they've explained it much or I missed it, but like they have like some sort of goal or plan. Then you have like the teachers, you have like some strife within the teachers. Then one of the favorite teachers I like is the one that's like about her bread. Like she's just like, oh, like I'm just here to like get my money up or whatnot. Like they're paying me this much.
Like,
so
things
I feel
aren't worth it if it's not money. That just hit you, huh?
Yeah, she's just doing her job.
Yeah.
So I feel like with like the first season, like they're really like focusing on like character building, and then like, you know me, like I like to see like the character building within the plot. But if they do well, like now that they've built all these characters out, now maybe in the second season we'll see more like an intricate plot of like what's going to happen.
True. I could see that. Yeah, I think that's the reason. It's just 24 episodes. Like you can't. How are you gonna like show me depth and then all this plot, etc. I'm expecting too much for 24 episodes.
My Hero did it. And
I don't think My Hero did depth in 24 episodes. First season, depth is like a little different to me. Like when I talk about depth, I'm talking like Naruto level depth.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking like yo, this
all
tied into this. Like,
of
like Attack on Titan has depth, and like that was like overloaded in the fourth season. Like this led to this. This guy knows this character. We saw this happen over here. Like that's like depth to me, and like the reason why these guys did these things is because this character did this. That's pretty much what depth is. And in 24 episodes, I don't think any show can
come up with that level.
It's hard to compare like this one season to, you know, the 900 episodes of Naruto or the
exactly.
You know,
most of my other questions are pretty much like overall generic, like last second type things. Do you guys have any easier type questions?
one thing we didn't like talk about is like favorite characters. Yeah, so like who's your favorite character?
Favorite character is Megumi. He's real. Like
if you didn't see that last fight, would it be or
he was my favorite from
from the beginning?
Like Yuji's my favorite. I would say like they're equal.
Yeah.
Megumi might be slightly above. Like I just liked him from the beginning because he was sick, but he's like reserved, and he's like, man, like Gojo, shut up. Like I don't care. I don't like. I'm just focused on my business and I'm trying to get better.
Yeah.
Like and he seemed like he has a heart. Like even though it might be like wrong, like Yuji will probably change his vision of like only saving people that deserve it to like having to save everybody, and it looks like it is slightly changing with his stepsister and everything, but overall like he was like just sick to me. Like I don't know, I gravitated towards him. He seemed cooler because Yuji is a cool character, but he's standard nowadays. Like dumb but super powerful, like main character type. Like he's really cool. He dives into danger, tries to save everybody, and is that person. Like Megumi seemed like he had like more
depth. Yeah.
I don't know. I liked him.
Word of the day, sick. People. Depth.
Gojo was sick too. I liked him. Now when you said Kakashi, that's what I'm thinking. Like he is on that like type of mood.
It's hard not to like the characters that are like like Gojo, for instance, where he's so powerful. He's just like
nonchalant.
He's just so confident. Like, it doesn't matter what happens, he'll handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard not to like those characters.
What about you? Yeah, what'd you say?
Honestly, like, this might be a list. So I want to add, I didn't have it until I started thinking about it, but like Nobara is like a character now that I think about it that I really like. I liked how like her explanation of like why she came to Tokyo.
That was
it's like,
shop.
It wasn't.
That's not him.
She's like, yo, like I couldn't afford to go to like Tokyo like any other way, so I decided to like do this. And he's like, really, you would do something like this? She's just like, yeah, like this is the only way like I could have afforded it. I had a list of characters here too.
You have a list of characters that's your favorite?
Nanami
okay.
is he's my favorite. I would
Overall?
say like Nanami is my favorite, 100%.
Funny, you just added that right now.
Nah. Panda was like a character that like I really liked and I really like got attuned to. Maki, I like her story. She's not my favorite, but I like her story.
Her story's cool.
Yeah, like her background story is cool.
Like,
Now,
she's
a
always
lot of
confident.
these characters have really good background stories. Like now that you think of, so I feel like they did spend a lot of time like building these characters. So like, you know what? Like now that I think about it, I really like the characters in the show.
Anybody specific, Shaq?
Oh, 100%. My favorite character is Toto. 100%.
Toto's mad funny, yo.
The reason I like him is because obviously he's just like stupid powerful. Like he's just like, again, like Gojo, very similar. Like he's very confident in his ability.
They said something about like by himself when the last year event got attacked by like that evil guy that's within Mahito's group.
Yeah.
They said he
beat a special grade
and 4 first grade, right? By himself.
Something like that, yeah.
4 or 5 first
and then
himself.
him and Yuji are talking and he's like
at the same time too, like he didn't get a chance to breathe.
He's like, did you use like Black Flash or did you use some type of ability? And he's like, oh, not on the first grades I didn't. On the special grade I did, but not on the first grade. And it's like that just goes to show like how powerful he is. And also the reason I like him is because aside from obviously being strong, it's easy to like the strong character, but like he's smarter than people give him credit for.
Yeah, he's
like
not the dumb like brute. Like,
yeah. Everybody thinks he's just like an idiot.
Yeah.
And there was a scene where Megami gets hit with those thorns from the Mother Earth curse, and they feed on like curse energy. So he's trying to beat it with curse energy, and it's just
he's
growing.
about to block it.
Yeah, and then Toto is like about to block it, and then he's like he has a flashback to the girl, right, the pop star, and then she's like
Takada.
She's like, why would you block with curse energy? Like, think about what happened, and he's like going through his head, and he's like you're right. Then he just turns it off, and then it just bounces off, and then it has like that little thing where it's like, all this happened in like 0.001 seconds, and he's like, that's my 1000 IQ play or some shit like that. It's mad funny, but he's
53,000 IQ play.
Yeah.
And then I think they put IQ. I don't know if I read it wrong, but I think they put like IQ 53.
Yeah,
it was something
mad funny.
like that.
But yeah, Toto is Toto's.
Anybody else or just
Nanami is like my second, because that overtime thing was just like crazy.
Sick.
That was crazy
because of the Nanami thing. So like, how do you guys feel about the ranking system? So they have like 4th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 1st grade, and then special grade. And then realistically, everybody's within 4 to 1. Special grade is above and beyond. You'd probably classify Gojo in that, and maybe like the principals here and there. The principal of Kyoto, his powers seem weird, like the
guitar,
rockstar thing. Like, I'm not a fan of that. The looks wise, it wasn't like that sick or anything.
He also wanted to pack the main character.
His look reminds me of the character from Hunter x Hunter, the old guy that plays the ball with Gon and
why does his name escape me right now?
But he didn't have like the same like personality wise.
No, he didn't.
No, they had different demeanors and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about that ranking system, like 4 to 1, and where people are placed and everything like that?
I think they should have explained how like people can beat special grades, because now you have like a first year student Megami beating a special grade, and then you have like Toto beating a special grade, right? But then they're ranked differently. So like that to me doesn't really make sense, like how like you could be ranked as like a 3rd class, or I think Megami's ranked as a 2nd class sorcerer.
He was ranked as 2nd class, but like not officially. Like that was Panda's viewpoint.
Yo, that was like his assessment of him.
Yeah.
Okay,
was,
but
like,
even
because between like third grade and like he put a half step in between.
Yeah. So, but okay, even still, like even if he's ranked between like third and second, like how does that guy beat a special grade? You know what I mean? Like, and then nobody is ranked as a special grade. That doesn't.
I think the issue lies with like us having watched like things like Naruto and stuff, where like I have talked to you about it too. Like I like to see what like if this character beat this character, how did he do it? Is it just because he used the surrounding area or his abilities in a different way to beat him? He's not necessarily stronger, but he ends up beating that character.
More strategic or something.
Yeah, so we're in a way where like, okay, where's this character at power level and how does he rank? They do end up leveling up all these first years. The 2 second years, Panda and Maki, and then Yuji, Megumi, and Nabra. They end up leveling them up to second grade or first grade. I think first grade.
First grade, yeah.
Yeah, so I understand like where they're coming from.
Itadori gets ranked to first grade too, no?
Yeah.
In the finale, yeah.
But it's like okay, well that was like really quick.
Yeah,
you know? It was pretty
too.
fast, and it's like, okay, is there a specific way you're doing this, or you're just asking for how does this whole thing work? Like it just seems like it's just like it's not really important.
I feel like they just did it in the beginning just to give you like an idea. Yeah. And then like you're like, all right, throw this out. Like, because it feels like there's no way that it can be that consistent over time. I know they had the ranking like, yo, if you're this, then you should be able to be like a special grade or whatnot. Yeah. But I think it was just to like give you a scope of how strong these special grades were in the beginning. So then like when they do say like, oh, the first years be like a special grade, everyone's just like, oh my god, like, these guys are sick. Because if they don't do that in the beginning, then them beating a special grade, like it could mean anything to you. But now that they've done it, I feel like they're gonna throw that like special grade system
wasn't it
out.
like a little too fast though? It like everything them just leveling up from like the whole progression skips out from 4 to
special grade.
Like you never have them be specifically ranked as fourth. They just they kind of just
were
don't
just
even
students.
talk about it. They were just students, and then they just rank them first grade. And the way that I don't know if you specifically remember, but the way that these rankings work is if you're a fourth grade, you're
slightly higher than a fourth grade curse.
No, you're not. What's the word? You're expected. You're expected to beat a third grade curse. If you're a third grade, you're expected to be a second grade. If you're a second grade, you're expected to be a first grade. If you're first grade, you're expected to be one level up. Every time it's one level up. You're expected. That's not like what you should be doing, but it's expected of you. So that's what classifies you as a first grade. Now Gojo is special grade because not only can he beat special grade, but he can probably
beat the king of curses.
Yeah. King of curses. He could do whatever. Yeah. So I don't know. It was a little weird. I understand, like just from the story, like they're like, okay, here you can understand where they're coming from, and then just skip over it.
Right now, it kind of seems like a what's it called? The Dragon Ball Z kind of like power system. You know what I mean? Like there's just unlimited power ups, like unlimited. Like you just move up to the next form, the next form, the next form.
Yeah.
So
I think the issue is like in terms of like this is like all the curses that are like cool enough that you care about were special grade. So like why I feel like the reason why they classified the system is just like, or the reason why they're gonna throw it out is like, if they showed you a first grade curse, you're gonna be like, well, I don't care.
Because
like, we've already seen the special grade, and the special grades have like personalities and stuff like that.
And one thing good about that is like the Gojo even specifies like there's a lot of them coming out right now, and the reason being is because of the fingers being activated. Yeah. So it was a good explanation in terms of that. Like they threw it in there.
Also, the one thing to consider that I just actually thought of was this guy's expected to eat 20 fingers, right? So that means there's probably curses up to the strength of like 19 fingers or 18, you know what I mean? Like, because Jogo is the strength of 9 fingers.
Wait, he's supposed to eat 20.
There's 20 fingers. So Sukuna has 4 arms, so 20 fingers in total, right?
Okay.
So
they're planning to have him eat it, Yuji eat them, and then
kill him.
And then kill him.
Because once the curse, like if there's a curse inside of you or whatever, or you're the vessel for a curse, if you die, then the curse dies with you.
Law.
So if Jogo is ranked at like 9, obviously Mahito is like an infant, I guess, or like adolescence, right? Like he's still learning his powers, and you can see that with like the innate domain and all that stuff.
And everything.
Obviously he's probably going to be stronger than Jogo, so he might be like 14 fingers, and then there might be someone else who's like 16 fingers or whatever.
Oh, for like the story progression, like have to be like
So as he gets stronger and eats more fingers, there's gonna be like higher level threats that come out to match his strength, kind of thing. Yeah. That's what I think.
Where are they gonna come out from? Because like these guys are showing speech, and that's throwing Gojo off.
Well, like, so even with
and they're communicating together.
Even with like the three brothers, right? Like, what's their name? Like Cholo or something like that. Cholo, Esso, and
they got clapped 1 episode, like 2 episodes. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, Choso, Esso, and Ketchisu. Yeah, those 3 brothers, right? So they're other special grade curses that came out of nowhere.
They didn't come out of nowhere.
Well, like but so even like for the story, right? They could have more of them somewhere else.
More of them like getting created.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
yeah. Okay.
So that's what I don't know. That's what I think. It personally, like, there's 20 fingers to be eaten. There's got to be enemies to match the 20 fingers. You know what I mean? Facts. Or at least come close.
You think Yuji's gonna be able to take all 20 without like giving up his body to Sukuna?
They still have that pact. So
that pact. It was only what was it exactly?
I haven't read
so Sukuna says extension, and then Yuji has to like give his body to him for a minute. Yeah.
And he told
he's
him
not allowed to hurt people.
He can't kill anybody.
He can't hurt, but that's only the pact. Now if he takes over the body, that pact doesn't matter.
That's true.
Because if that pact mattered, then the story would be pointless.
I feel like he'll end up getting like the 20. I wonder if he'll convince the curse to be like. They always do this to be like a good guy or something.
At some point, he has to get released, like where Yuji loses control, and we have to see like Gojo or
who knows, in the future, like in future seasons, it could be like there's a like Sukuna finds a way to separate, and then Yuji keeps some of like the cursed energy or whatever, and keeps the power of like the 20 fingers, and yeah, I don't know.
I believe there has to be a Gojo versus
100%.
Sukuna. They can't not show that.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions you guys have?
Nah, you can ask the generic ones because
I have ones that are like gonna be like. So, for example, like, was there a point in the show that like zoned you in, like you were like locked in, like, for example, I'll say like I'm mostly just laid down watching it, and then I'm like, all right, this is sick. I get up and I'm like kneeled in, like watching it. Is there anything that you guys find specific, like that you were zoned in for?
The 2 were the Panda Mecha fight and the Todo fighting
Todo Yuji versus Hanami.
The Hanami, yeah. The curse, Hanami the curse, right? Yeah. Those were the 2 fights that I was like zoned in, and then the finale I was like kind of zoned in to like the finale as well. I thought the finale was like really good for like.
I didn't
what
see
it
it
was.
Like that. I didn't
really?
See it really good. I thought it was a good finish.
Because when I watched the finale, like they kind of like
they ended on a bang. Like
yeah,
I don't know. They ended on a big note. Or like the last episode, not like the end of the show, but like the last episode was good.
And the way that like the way they did some of the fighting, I didn't expect like how some of the things were gonna turn out. Like when she did the thing and she had to like stab the nails into her arm. Yeah. Like that was something I didn't expect. When he was gonna go like. They're gonna like punch the brother. I did expect him to like lift the curse, but then like I was kind of like intrigued on like how this fight was gonna go. And then when he grabbed the people and he was like in the truck running off, and then after like his arm was on the ground, I didn't expect her to do that. So once I seen her doing that, I was like, oh, that's like pretty sick.
I didn't expect the arm thing, but I wouldn't say like it was like a bang from that fight specifically. Like that fight was cool. I think the Megami fight was sicker. Like him just not losing his mind, but letting go of like his issues or caring about what specific thing, and just going in. Like I was like, oh, that was sick. That from the ending, I think that was like the second last episode.
Yeah,
I would give that like the edge over that.
Well, I also like the cooperative fights. So like the Todo and Yuji, the
Todo swapping,
Nanami and Yuji when they're fighting Mahito, the Nobara and Yuji.
We have seen a lot of that in 24 episodes.
The co-op fights?
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of animes don't really do like the 2-on-1 fights or like the two
they do like
cooperative fights. Yeah, it's like normally 1v1. But I feel like this is just like a symptom of like animes in like 2021, like, and like seeing more like, because animation just gets faster now, so like they're able to like output like faster and better animations.
So they're able to do 2v1 while back in the day it was like
1v1. Like you wouldn't be able to like show like as many animations with like two people fighting.
True,
so I don't know. I feel like that's what makes it like super sick. But I feel like this anime and their animations just is gonna put anime in a whole nother level. Kind of like how I feel like Attack on Titan kind of did the same thing, but like.
Yeah, like
It's gonna be like a new era. Like when you're like watching older animes, you're gonna be like, oh, like this isn't high def like this one.
I feel that with Naruto. Like I sometimes I like sit back and I'm like, Naruto is still sick. Like it can, it's not better, but it can compete with like certain animes in terms of fighting and stuff. But you can notice like the drastic changes between like the animation style and like how clean things look. I feel bad sometimes. I'm like, yo, bro, if Naruto was like going on now,
it'd be crazy.
Disgusting. Like, the fights would be insane.
But you can even see with shows that have been going on for so long, right? Like Dragon Ball, like the animations back in the day when they first came out were like
versus
terrible.
like Super now.
Versus Super now is like a very clean like animation style. So
what can we expect from a season 2? Any like thoughts? You can have like a zoned in prediction. You can have like just a generic, you know.
I don't know what to expect, but one thing I want to see is like I really like seeing the characters just interact just regularly. Like I like seeing them like chill. Like when they were going shopping, I liked seeing that. So like
this is weird to hear because you always talk about like things being slow and stuff, and then you're like,
but they're actually funny. Like it was actually hilarious. Like when the girl was just like, don't drop anything. I don't know why it's
bro, those
corny,
are like filler episode type things.
But I was actually dying because he dropped it and they're dying. And then like when what's this Miyagi, what was your favorite character? Megami. When he was
Miyagi.
No, his name, bro.
When he was talking to the girl, and then they're like, I don't know if you guys seen it. It might have been a post.
Yeah, no, when he was talking to the girl and they're like, it was a post credit type skit.
And it was like, oh, he's talking to a girl, and after they're just like being mad annoying. I just found scenes like that.
They didn't want to talk to each other. They're like, yo, let's run over. We have to like reverse it. And then I think Gojo pretends to be his like boyfriend.
Yeah, and then the girl just like walks away. Like, yo, why are you guys being annoying? That stuff was just like hilarious to me. It just like it just brought me back.
So you want to see more of that in the season?
I want to see more. Like if they can do stuff like that, and it's like still funny and like make these characters like super likable. Actually, it brings me to one question that I want to ask. Are these like, because in animes like they're super big on like trios, right? Are these like the best is this the best like trio in anime?
No. Trio?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
This doesn't beat nothing.
I know why you're saying no, because Naruto, Sasuke, and
bro, there's
but
like,
you don't like one of them.
Sakura?
Yeah. So how
this is definitely a more balanced trio.
It's like a balanced trio, but I'm not a bit like crazy big fan of Nobara. Like at a certain point, or Nabara, like her power is like alright. Like at a certain point, she can't defeat a certain character.
But she's mad likable. Like she's just like I like seeing them interact together. Like
interacting together, she's cool. Sakura, I like them when they interact together. Sakura did the same exact thing. Like
Sakura's
I don't know, like just acted the same thing.
Sakura
there's like 40 different trios in Naruto that would hands down like I wouldn't even care.
There are definitely a lot of trios.
There's nasty trios. Come on, cut. That's a terrible.
There's a couple here. So Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura obviously is from Naruto.
Sakura's mad.
You got Yuji, Megami, and Nobara from Jujutsu. Alphonse, Edward, and Winry from Full Metal. That one competes, I think. Like
I need to watch.
Winry wasn't even with her.
I know, but I think that's that anime's trio.
Okay.
Then there's Eren, Mikasa, Armin.
Nasty.
That's a big time trio.
But
Eren's annoying, and that's a big time trio.
You like Armin?
Armin's a smart kid. Yeah.
Armin's always crying. Like Armin's.
But they like. Every trio they have a dynamic, right? Like so, like Eren is like the leader. Dynamic? I personally like it because I think it works well together. Like Eren is like the leader, or like that's the guy they gotta protect.
Like you're like, oh, like I can't wait till these guys like come together.
You gotta protect the smart. I put it this way: like next part 2 for a thing, if he doesn't like show out, like it was a waste.
Also, your show, Demon Slayer, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke.
That's pretty good, but I feel like sometimes it can be annoying. Like I feel like with Jujutsu, like they're more personal. Like each character is more personable. So like
out of those ones that I listed, do you think that the Jujutsu trio is the best out of those?
Yeah, I don't think that like the anime is the best, but the trio together is the best. Like I like watching them like interact.
If they were on
together.
A reality show, that's
like
what you would tune into.
They could make an anime that's those animes that are like mad weird, like they don't do anything.
Yeah,
they just go to school. like I'd watch one of them like going to the mall or something like that. Like they're just that funny, not interesting to me. So like
this guy's lonely, ladies. Anybody looking for someone?
It's just like that's what I like about this anime. Like I like them. I didn't know.
So when you said best trio, I was talking like I thought you were talking about like fighting or
skillful.
Like,
no,
skillful,
like just likable. Like you
just likable. Okay.
Like you want to see like them hang out. Like I didn't know this. I was gonna say like
I like seeing Kakashi and Guy Sensei and like somebody else. Like those guys kill.
Kakashi and Guy Sensei together are pretty funny.
Rock Lee,
Neji,
and what's her name?
Tenten.
Tenten, yeah.
Nah, I haven't watched it enough.
Rock Lee kills me. Like they're just funny.
I like
Rock Lee's hilarious.
But nah, like when I watched, I didn't know this until literally I was watching.
I feel like I'm missing something because like you guys value this very highly. Like I don't know.
The trio thing, or just in these three.
And like certain sections of this anime, like you guys are valuing very high, and I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect it until like I seen it. Like usually, I was like, oh, they're shopping, whatever. Then after I was dying, I was like finding myself laughing. I was like, yo.
Full disclosure, Ridwaan told me before, like halfway through the season, that he didn't like the show or like he wasn't a fan of it.
I didn't. When I was watching it, I was like, oh man, like I was kind of like
his little like switch of like I like it, don't like it can like be over the littlest thing and be random, like just off of anything.
I liked it in the beginning, and then after it kind of slowed down for me, and I was like, nah, like this isn't it. And then after like the finale tied everything in together. Like once I watched the finale, I was like, no, I like the show.
They threw in a mall scene, and then they had him sold.
So it has to be like on the
but it was before that mall scene. Like it was like when they were doing that fight. I didn't realize how much I liked and cared about the characters until I seen them like doing that fight, and then like the villains were kind of like interesting, and then he's just like, brother, and then he's just like, I didn't even know I was releasing the curse until like I released the curse. I mean, he had to release the curse. That was his brother. I didn't understand that though, because like he released the curse, but the girl was running to kill his brother anyways. Like I didn't understand like how he
didn't want to release it, but he ended up doing it out of like instinct to save his brother.
But like he would have died. Like I know he did end up dying anyways, but I don't understand the logic of like him like
no, I think what the whole thing was when he was like, I'm releasing the curse. I released the curse, or I was already releasing the curse, or whatever he said, was because she was driving the nails into her arm, right? So she was like causing him and the brother pain.
Oh, okay.
So like before he made that conscious like decision, like okay, release.
Yeah.
He was already like his body was already doing it.
Oh,
you know I mean, I think that's what he meant. Yeah.
I thought it was because he says specifically like I can't fight these guys off and save my brother while this curse is active. So I thought it was and he wants to save his brother at all costs, so he subconsciously releases it in order to fight them, and then he didn't even realize himself consciously.
Bro's getting smoked.
And then he ends up losing regardless.
Mad easy. And then she's like, don't worry, your older brother is gonna follow you. What? Sakura's not saying anything like that.
Yeah, Sakura's not like that. But Sakura versus
this girl's a demon. She's just like because they find out they're cursed users, and then he's like, Itoroki. I can't. I messed up.
You say Todoroki.
Itadori's like, oh, like I didn't realize they were cursed users. Like because the bodies weren't disappearing. So like, oh, like they were human.
Yeah.
Then he's like, oh, like how do you feel about that? She's like, I don't know.
They're
like,
not human to me.
Yeah.
She's like, it doesn't bother me.
It sounds like it bothers you more than it bothers me. And he's like,
she asked him like he says I'd had to kill. She asked him like, have you had to kill before? Because he asks her that.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I had to do one. Well, not one, 3. And he's like, she's like, well, it seems like it's bothering you more than
who's the 3? One of them was like his friend.
No. Well, there was 4.
Watching movies.
Yeah, that kid. Yeah. He had to kill him when he got turned into when he got transfigured.
Did he kill
Mahito?
him?
Yeah, he had to kill him.
I think Mahito kills him.
He does.
Or the Shaq kills him.
You're right.
He kills the 3.
But like he had the opportunity to let him live, and then after he's just like...
He didn't have the opportunity to let him live.
Because then the guy's like, what are you going to do about it? Like, are you going to fight him?
Once that guy touches the soul of like a human, like there's no way
he did say... So there is a scene where Mahito says, I went a little overboard. Yeah. Like I shouldn't have gone so hard because he died to the shock. Like he ended up just dying. Yeah. Okay. The 3 he kills is like because Mahito keeps like those little like human pills or
human
whatever.
Souls like with him.
Oh yeah.
So Nanami's fighting. Nanami and Yuji are fighting, and to get Yuji to dip out so they can have a 1-on-1, he throws like 3 humans at him, and then he realizes like Yuji doesn't want to kill him, so Yuji starts running away, and these these souls are asking for death, and they don't show it on screen, so like you never even know if he did it, but we'll take his word that like he ended up killing
those 3.
And then I think at the end of the last episode they end up talking to like Megumi and Nobara are talking, and Megumi says like don't tell Yuji, like he ends up, because he killed the people, he'll think it's because of him. It's because the fingers are eaten and it activates the curse pretty much giving life to these curses, and Mahito makes these guys into human forms, and he's like, that's the reason, like you're kind of the reason it happens, not really, but Yuji would take it that way, so don't tell him.
Wait, the resonating thing?
So no, yeah, that
he said, I didn't understand that scene. They said,
so Megumi's talking to Nobara and saying like don't tell Yuji, but the reason why those curses activated and have human bodies is because he ate the finger in the first episode, activating the curses from all the other fingers. So they're attracting curses, and then they're making them into human form. Mahito makes those 3 paintings or pictures into human form. So he's indirectly responsible. And Yuji would take that to heart because he doesn't want humans to die.
Yeah.
He would take it to heart like, I am the reason. And then Nobara like yeah, we won't talk about that. It goes to Yuji walking by himself, and then Sukuna talking on his mouth. He's like, you stupid fuck, like you did this, you wanted to save people, but you caused all this death. Yuji would end up taking, everybody that died from the bridge, he would end up taking it to heart, like he was the reason.
And then doesn't the main character say Itadori? Doesn't he say something like, "Oh, don't tell Megumi"?
Yeah. I didn't really understand that part. Did you, like I can probably figure something out, but would you?
I know the reason why. I think he's like, "Don't tell Megumi," because then Megumi isn't gonna try and save everyone. But I don't understand like how
save everyone,
because he wants Megumi. Because I think he says something about he wants Megumi to be like a good person and save everyone, not just the people that deserve it. But,
okay, I think you're right, because he says like Megumi. It flashes back to Megumi saying like, "What's the point of saving somebody that's gonna hurt somebody else?"
Yeah. So in the jail or whatever.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. That makes sense.
It could also be because his sister got cursed from the bridge.
Oh,
right. So it could be like Megumi's, because if he said it could be because Megumi's gonna like blame him for the fact that
Megumi doesn't want him to think he's gonna blame him. So they're both like they have the same thought, but they don't want to say it to each other.
Yeah. Could be.
But he like that was sick when he's talking to Sukuna. He's like, don't you mention that to Megumi? Don't you dare! I'm like, this guy.
Another sick scene is when Mahito first uses his innate domain and traps Nanami in it.
Yeah.
And then Yuji breaks in, and then he lands inside, and then Sukuna's like, I told you not to touch me again.
Yeah, that was fact. That was sick. Sukuna's like, when he's up there, it's kind of like Inuyasha-esque. Like those demons, like those high level demons.
Yeah.
When they're like he was like on the throne of bones and stuff, and he was just chilling there like this or something like that. It just looks sick to see.
I feel like he's just like a king powered like villain. Like you just see him as like this super villain who's just
on
like
his throne
in control of everything, and like he's like, I'm gonna kill him just for fun.
Are there any storylines you guys want to see more of?
The schools.
Different schools and classes.
Yeah, and like the more
year ones, year
on the
twos.
teachers too.
Because you can see like different like years of students, and we just haven't seen them all. I think the second year in the Tokyo school, I don't know his name, Katsu or something like that. He's like regarded as the best student at the time, and he's away on a mission. He's been on a mission for the whole season.
And that's crazy because Toto's nasty.
Toto's nasty, yeah.
And if this guy's better than Toto.
But no, he's from Kyoto. But those guys hate this guy because he's the reason why they won. He's the reason why they almost lost the year before, or they did lose the year before. Yeah, there's a bunch of characters that we're still missing.
I hope we get the backstory on these families. Like that's my.
On like the three clans.
Because like obviously Maki, they're from the like,
Zenin.
They're pretty.
And then explained.
Huh? They're pretty like. Their backstory is interesting, and then I like curious to see like the family because they all have like their individual traits, and then Gojo's from a family.
It was cool to see like the reason why Megumi was considered a Zenin member, and then he's trying to get out of that. That was cool too. Gojo was his like little master there. It was dope.
I feel I don't remember that.
his dad left. So his dad is like they're Zenin, like he's a Zenin. Like his
Gojo's
last
a
name is
Zenin?
no, not Gojo. Megami and his dad.
Oh, okay.
They're Zenins, and the dad left for
Had a
some
kid?
reason.
Oh yeah, and then Gojo was just like,
And then
your dad sold you to me,
yeah,
and then that was kind of funny still.
yeah.
His dad tried to sell him to the Zenin clan, and
Used the fact that he would be a jujitsu sorcerer as like a
collateral. And then
But they changed their last name. Like it should be like
Zenin. I don't know if he was like, if he belonged to the clan, or like I assume he was like a Zenin, but I was thinking, could he be like a worker or something like that?
yeah. It's
But
just like
yeah, we'll say that. And then that was a cool storyline overall. Oh, if you watched it,
I watched it, but like, I don't know. I felt like it was just like whatever. I liked
Gojo was training him and everything. That was pretty cool.
Like recap. What's her name? Who's the girl with the stick again?
Maki.
Maki. Like I liked her family storyline more than
That's
I liked.
the same family.
Is it she's a Zenin?
Zen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maki and Mai are sisters.
They're twin sisters for the Zenin clan, and then Megami is a Zenin.
As well.
Oh, I didn't like
With
Megami's
just a different
connection to the Zenin clan, but
You didn't like it?
I thought it was just whatever. Like his dad sold him to the Zenin clan. Like
He is a Zenin though.
Like that's his family.
So who did he sell him to?
He was gonna sell him. He dipped away from the family, and then he was gonna sell him to the family to get the money to escape with his new wife.
But he's
which
already a
was his
Zenin.
stepsisters. Huh?
But he left with
he
him.
left.
So he's
Oh,
like now,
okay.
He left
and he
to have that
changed. He
kid.
changed his name.
He left to have Megami like be born, because I guess they have the issue with it.
And then he just gave it. Oh,
And then he was trying to sell him to the family, saying he's going to be a jujitsu sorcerer as like a way, like take him. You know what I mean?
Take him and give
There's
some
a
money and
value,
we'll
yeah.
dip out.
and I'm going.
And then
Maybe his wife is
Jujutsu
back.
steps in, and Gojo steps in, and he's like, we'll cover that cost, and we'll cover you being like your living facility if you like become
Got it.
a sorcerer for us. I'm pretty much out of questions. If you guys have some quick hitters,
What do you guys think of the like the curse's intentions? Like they have that little coffee shop episode, and
I don't know. Like that's what I was confused. That's what I wanted to talk about the most. Like
their intentions was like to bring Sukuna back and all living power. They think if he's brought back, that the curses will live in a new age where curses will be the dominant one over the Jujutsu sorcerers. So they're really relying on him. That's pretty much their goal. There's a human working with them that attacked the exchange event the year prior to this. I just don't know who he is. We just don't know, like, I think we have his name, but we don't know who he is, his specific intentions, why he wants to do the things he's doing. But he got that group of Mahito, Jogo, and
they do a good job of like making the cursed spirits like seem like extremely evil, and like with the
they're
the
born
coffee
from
shop.
evil. Like they're born from
negative,
evil
yeah.
emotions.
And they also have someone who's a human, or like you said, a human working with them. I find it like I thought their goal would be to kill humans, but it seems like their goal isn't to like fully kill humans. Like they don't. Like they're willing to work with humans, so I don't know that part.
The scene, the scene in the coffee shop or whatever, the restaurant. They say like the reason why they should be the dominant one is because they're true, like they're true beings. Like
they're pure. They're pure. There's
like
no lies. No
nothing. Humans will lie to like keep up social appearances and like I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I lie to you, right? Like, but they're all truth and like
they're negative.
Hate is truth and whatever. And I think there's a little tidbit in there where he says like they don't have to kill humans, but they have to be the dominant ones.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't have to be running for their life.
That guy that works with the Mahito and he gathered that group, like he has to be disgusting. Like because he knows where everybody is ranking wise. He knows where Sukuna is. That's why he can say, Jogo, you're at nine fingers. Gojo being like the strongest, like we can't do anything if he's in the picture. We have to remove him from the picture for our plan to even work. Like he knows everybody's power levels. He's working with these high level curses. Like he has to be disgusting. He's already attacked the exchange event last year, and he's the one that brought those special grades and first grade curses. So he has some influence, but he hasn't he hasn't done anything, or we haven't heard anything of him specifically fighting or his powers or anything like that. So he has to be disgusting.
He's like all for one.
I agree.
He's like all for one. or the Alpha One, the little like mentor guy.
Yeah. So, another thing, My Hero, they're like
Yeah,
that type of like.
100%.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Any other questions?
What is it called? The League of Villains?
the League of Villains.
Yeah.
But we can do one last.
You're not liking My Hero's League of Villains?
No, I fuck with them.
All right, bet.
What's the guy's name with the sword?
The sword in this show?
No,
Hero Killer. The Hero Slayer?
yeah. What's his name?
Stain.
Stain. Yeah, that top left has a character.
Stain was sick, but he wasn't really. He was like by himself type.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't like do more on him. They just like beat him and then that was it.
Because they have so many villains. They have like so many
They could bring
villainous
him back
groups.
because he's one of those type of characters that like other people see on TV and they're like, yeah, like he's right. Like his opinion is right. Let me be the second Stain.
I think they
did something like that.
They went into that like, oh, some people wanted to be like Stain and stuff like that, but he'd be like, nah, they're not real. But we have, it's basically it, unless we have like some like ending stuff that we really need to get into, because we're at the hour mark. But anything else that like someone's like,
last thing, let's just give it like a rating out of 10. Like first season, we'll start off with Shaquille. What do you think out of 10?
Out of 10 for just the first season so far?
Yeah.
I would say probably like an 8.5, 9.
8.5?
Yeah.
Solid 8.5?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it like a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
It's kind of low ball in there. I'll say 7. I've been saying 7.8 a lot. I'll say 7.88. That's just my range.
Go round up 8. He says 8.
That's my range. I liked it overall. There was just something missing for me. Maybe it'll all tie in a little bit better if there's like a little bit more depth for me.
We gotta change the rating system and have like animes we've watched, and then like put like the tier list. Like we have to put a tier list on the screen, and so then it makes it easier. So you can be like, like
but
this
you rated this that.
Yeah. Cause I know someone's probably saying, yo, these ratings make no sense to me right now.
Okay, this seems like it's a good stopping point overall. So if you guys have any suggestions, comments, or anything like that, go to our YouTube page. Just leave them in the comments. We'll definitely check them. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, so you can check us out on anything. Yeah. Do you guys have any last comments or anything like that?
That's everything.
Pretty much it. That's Ridwaan. I'm Brinder. This is Shaq. And next week we'll have Demon Slayer. So be ready for that. Tune in for that. But yeah, pretty much that's all.
Easy, guys.
Easy.